What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Joel.
How's it going, folks?
Dave, the not-so-evil Viking 13.
I have the theme song playing in my ears right now. I'm not sure which browser or tab it's in, so I'm currently browsing for that.
And what's James.
What's up?
And this is episode 99, and you know what that means. It means next week is episode 100.
101! I'm just kidding.
No. Homeschool math. Yeah, but episode 100 is next. You just did it again, Joel.
What?
You did it like 30 episodes ago. You just looked and then you went and just looked around your room like, oh, Damon Chipmunk.
I was like, I'm feeling something in the fan was on. I was just like, what the heck is that?
It's the podcast ghost.
I'm getting the podcast shivers.
Oh, I just found it, guys. I just found the tab. That was like 2 minutes of me just like laughing along with whatever you guys were saying.
Dave's like, ha ha ha, mirth.
I couldn't hear anything.
So anyway, next week, episode 100, we are going to be giving away a lot of games. I am so
seriously
pumped to announce
good
this.
games. It's going to be awesome.
Seriously good games. We're going to tease some stuff again. We are giving away the entire Witcher trilogy, all 3 games. You'll have to play some trivia to qualify for that. We are also giving away a copy of Killing Floor 2. And we are giving away Grand Theft Auto 5. And I would like to say we've been wasting all your Patreon money buying all these games, but I can't because you guys are so awesome. All but the first 2 Witcher games are actually donated by some of the podcast listeners. And I can't thank you guys enough. There's even some more stuff that might be coming in from a few other people who have emailed me. So thank you sincerely for donating that stuff, and we're going to make sure that we really challenge Joel so he can't keep any of it, and it goes away to you listeners. We're going to write really hard questions. And I'll say their names next week, the people who have kindly donated this stuff, if they'll let me. They know who they are. They can just let me know. But thank you guys so much. It's going to be awesome. We have some really amazing stuff planned. And not only that, but episode 100 is awesome and everything, but episode 101 is 1 week later, and I am honestly almost more excited for episode 101 now. I don't know about you guys. Everyone listening doesn't really know what we're talking about, but there are many cool things happening for Casual Shenanigans right now, and you will find out about a lot of stuff on episode 101. You'll be listening to it 2 weeks from whenever you listen to this, whether you listen on audio or whether you're watching live. Speaking of watching live, you can watch at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on twitch.tv. We stream the podcast, and it's always an awesome time. If you guys have never watched a podcast live, you can come out and hang out and chat with everybody. They're always super fun, and we occasionally respond to things in chat. So if that's been your lifelong dream, is to talk to one of us in Twitch chat, we can make it happen. I don't want to undersell the experience here. It's really awesome. You can actually talk to us in chat, and
it's pretty great. They can insult us live, and then we can just insult them right back live on the air. It's pretty fantastic. It's a great system.
and if you jump in and look at our chat,
if that's your lifelong stream, we can help you find a life like.
And then we'll put you in some counseling with James to have some better life dreams for next time. So if your life dream, one of them has been James's sultry voice giving you some Papa Bear advice, we can also make that happen.
Well, children, let me tell you, back in my day.
Now, Jeremiah, I want to ask, if people want to rate the podcast and help us out, help it continue to grow, where can they do that?
The best way to rate the podcast is by rating it with dollars on patreon.com/casualshenanigans. But you can also go into iTunes and find us Casual Shenanigans Gaming, and you can rate the podcast there. And thank you. The audio downloads have spiked up. It's been growing well on YouTube for months now, and it's growing again on audio. Like, it goes in fits and spurts where, like, it'll grow a bunch, and then it'll kind of taper off for a little bit, and then it'll start growing a bunch again. And it's growing right now. More people than ever are listening to the podcast, and Joel is more excited than ever. That stretch and yawn was just intense.
And Jeremiah, can I take just 30 seconds to read the last review that we got without giving names on iTunes? Because it's pretty fantastic. I don't know have you guys seen this review yet? The last one?
I don't think I have.
I haven't checked for a while.
No. What is it?
It's from November. This is from the dude. That's part of his name. I'll just give that part out. He says, 5 stars out of 5. These guys are on the balls of PC gaming news. Is that a good thing? I think
On those balls.
Or stepping right on them.
all the info you need and more. The podcast will keep you up to date with game releases, updates, drama, DLC, failures, and triumphs. All while you're welcomed into the host lives with stories about their endeavors in each of their chosen industries and Joel's health. That aren't always gaming, because as the title indicates, these guys are casual gamers that do love what they do. That's a solid review.
That's a nice review. Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
dude.
dude.
Health part was definitely for me, though. That was just for you, Joel.
And also, another fun announcement. Joel, did you create this thing we're doing later tonight? Is that you?
Not this one.
Oh, okay. Who made this one?
This was by Debbie.
Debbie. Okay. Debbie, our the Seal Slappers Grand Theft Auto 5 game master, Debbie. I say she's definitely our administrator when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 5 stuff. She's certainly beating the drum for Grand Theft Auto. We are going to be doing a scavenger hunt in GTA at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right after the podcast. So if you're listening tomorrow, yeah, you missed it. Sorry. But you can go join the Seal Slappers. It's our name of our Rockstar Social, our GTA Online Rockstar Social Club, whichever name that falls under the Seal Slappers. That's who we are. Come join us. Come play with us at any time in GTA. But tonight we're doing a scavenger hunt. So everyone who is listening to the podcast live, you guys have a fantastic opportunity to hop in and play with us.
Listen to Jeremiah drink booze live.
Sorry, it's all the carbonation. We're kind of out of beer. I'm having a Bold Rock.
Well, that's more than acceptable.
Spoiler alert, it's just the sound of him like literally just gobbling up the bottle. Like he doesn't drink, he just swallows it whole.
So mean.
Gobbling up the bottle.
Through the glass.
Oh my.
So anyway, that's the podcast. I think we've dicked around for long enough. Let's actually give you some content now. We mentioned Patreon. It pays for cool things like the Teamspeak server and the Potato Masher, which, by the way, there are Potato Masher videos coming. I'm just taking a couple weeks off from that to work on stuff that you will hear about on episode 101. But for the people who support us on Patreon, we appreciate you. We thank you. If you've pledged in the last couple of weeks and you haven't gotten an email from me yet, you will be soon. I've just been getting some stuff together. But Steven has upped his pledge, and Joel is now going to read his name.
Someone upped their pledge. Oh my God! Steven upped his pledge. Why, thank you, Steven. You so kind. Cock-a-doodle-doo, bitches. He upped his pledge, and we just want to thank you, Steven, so much for your money, because it's going to go towards awesome stuff. So,
did you actually read the show notes, Joel?
What just happened?
Yeah, I didn't.
What just happened?
I didn't say any amount.
I was so glad I was here for this.
Joy's down. She's watching Friends downstairs, so she didn't hear any of that crap.
No, that was good, Joel. That was good. I'm sure Steven feels very touched right now.
Joel, for 1 week, can you just give someone like a super condescending Southern, like, "Oh, bless your heart"? Or it's like a little
bless your heart, Steven.
It's like a little passive aggressive. There it is.
You chewing tobacco would be one of the funniest things ever. I know you just like, this is disgusting. What's wrong with people?
Man.
Joel's body is a temple.
For the record,
He only puts the finest fizzy orange water drinks in there. What's up, James?
for the record,
On my desk, I've got Dasani water, I've got fizz water, and I've got sparkling ice peach
tap
nectar.
water.
you
Tap
aquaholic.
water.
No, I drink a lot of water too. This is just like I had something with dinner.
Coca-Cola
Is there
loves
anything
him.
wrong with having dinner?
All right, sorry. What's up, James?
Originally in the show notes, it said it had to be read in an epic voice. So that's why my face was.
I feel like that was an epic voice.
I mean, that was epic. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I felt things.
I was thinking about doing Geralt, but I don't think I could do that. So
That would just be like, thank you, Steven.
yeah, just be like,
So emotional.
Batman.
Yeah, basically.
Medieval Batman.
But
I actually saw a video comparing the Polish version of The Witcher 3 and the English version. I like the English voice. Like, the Batman thing is kind of cool, but the Polish one is interesting because he sounds just, I don't know how to describe it, like, much more pedestrian. It's pretty legit.
Have you started learning Polish yet?
It's got subtitles, so I could just play it in Polish for the legitimate experience.
That's not the... Oh my gosh.
The books are Polish,
Yeah,
therefore...
no, I know. I read them too.
In English, like a fellow peasant.
What's worse than the book was better? Only thing worse than that is the book in the original language that I don't read was
Wait,
better.
you didn't read it in the original language, Dave?
No, he didn't. He's just being that much of a hipster.
I was like, what? I was like, did she really I'm like, Dave, there's no bounds to Dave's immersiveness.
That's true. When
I
Dave
learned that
decides
more
it's
every
time
year.
to go in, it's time to go in. No retreat,
actually,
no surrender, no sleep.
I did think about trying to learn like a little bit of Polish, but honestly, Polish is terrifying. It's the language of all consonants. It's pretty freaky.
It's now time to start the show like we always do with the news.
News time!
Dark Souls 3 has leaked.
Yes!
We're pretty sure. It's pretty much confirmed that it's leaked.
Yeah.
Short of an official announcement, it has leaked. And it's rumored to be shown at E3. Joel, why don't you take it away? What do we know about Dark Souls 3?
We actually, I guess we don't know 100%, but we do know from what the images, like we just know a little bit what it looks like.
Some images
supposedly.
leaked?
Yeah, some images leaked, probably about 15 or 16 of them, and some good detail. So whether or not they're true, but the details sure sound like they're true. It makes a lot of sense according to Dark Souls stuff. But man, I was really surprised. I was not at all expecting a Dark Souls.
Seems kind of early.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess Dark Souls 2 has been out for a little while. It's been like a year and a half, I guess. And I wasn't expecting if they announced it this year, it would be out this year. I figured probably like early summer or next year.
Right.
Anyway, so I guess it does make sense a little ways. But I just was with Bloodborne being out too, I guess I kind of consider that to be like the next game after Dark Souls 2. But I guess since it's not on Xbox and every system as well, it is kind of like its own separate thing. But it looks awesome. It looks really cool. One of the some of the features in it that I'd be curious how it works, but if you played a Dark Souls game before, like kind of save spots or bonfires, you can kind of sit out, change spells and all that kind of stuff. But this game, it sounds like either to enter another person's world or to save in an area, or maybe in certain areas of the level, you actually have to drag a body, like a dead body or something that you killed, and then like stab them with a sword, and it turns into a little bonfire or something like that.
That sounds like God of War. That's a very God of War thing to do.
Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy. So I'm curious to know if that's actually about... Because I'd be curious to know how that would work. Like, are they opening the entire world to, like, again, Dark Souls 1 and 2, you can summon people from, like, the bonfire up until the boss. And then there's, like, little middle areas in between kind of other zones that you can't really summon people. So I'm curious if they're going to get rid of that, and actually everywhere you can summon people. But I guess they got to figure out a way. How do you make it so that there's going to be summon signs everywhere? So maybe they're trying to solve that by being able to move bonfires where you want. I don't know. So, but it looks awesome. The graphics look pretty neat. And I like the fact that you can see your secondary sword on your back. At least according to the pictures, that's what it looks like. Kind of like in Bloodborne, like when you're fighting an enemy, you can see the other sword. You can see the sword they have or weapon. Where in Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1, you could have a tiny little dagger, and you're hiding a gigantic warhammer in your pants somewhere. Like you just pull it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't realize. You don't realize.
Every time he plays.
My warhammer is bigger than your warhammer.
His twinkling titanite reinforced warhammer.
But yeah, no, it's awesome. So I'm really excited. I'm not sure if
it's rumored to be by the original director.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So
like
was that guy working on Bloodborne and this at the same time? Like, how would that work?
I don't know. Guy's a boss if he is. I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this wasn't coming out till like late next year or maybe the year after. Like, if it's just getting announced, because it seems so early if he's been working on Bloodborne.
The rumor
Everything
says spring
says
2016. Yeah,
Huh.
But I mean, we'll see. Dark Souls 2 came out, I think, June or July of last year.
It's been just about 1 year. Yeah.
Now, Joel,
I think the artwork seems to have taken on some of the Bloodborne style. Like, I mean, it's still
it looks a little Bloodborne, and it looks a more original Dark Souls 1, honestly. I really hope they bring back just the way the character moved and some of the combat from the original one. But Bloodborne, with the updated of Dark Souls 2 to like summon and everything, I hope they stick with signs, not with what Bloodborne did.
If they're on like the Bloodborne engine, that's all well and good, but I'd hope if they're trying to make the areas bigger and stuff, like the areas in Bloodborne aren't that big. Like, you're never in one section, one room that's huge, because obviously it has stability issues running because it's so detailed. I'd be okay with them scaling that back, keeping the same feel, keep all that blood and wetness and everything, but scale it back so it runs smoother on more systems, I would hope, because I don't want Dark Souls 2 runs great. At least on the PC, it runs fantastic. And on the PS4, I'm assuming it runs pretty well, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's 60 FPS, so it runs pretty well. So I really want them to carry that over for Dark Souls 3.
Yeah,
multi-platform.
So that's exciting.
Yeah,
and we'll keep our fingers crossed for Demon Souls.
I was going to ask, though, Joel, can you handle a Dark Souls game every year?
Oh, heck yes.
Well, he just won't stop playing the previous one. He's like Call of Duty
good,
now.
yeah,
Stop playing the old ones, though. Are you going to be okay?
Well, I'm playing because I love it. I mean, like, it's so much fun. It really is so much fun. It's weird because I mean, John, I was like, okay, Bloodborne was absolutely incredible, but I think it's definitely more for me. I think a more one-off game. Like, I'm very excited to play the expansion if they come out with one. Like, just new content's gonna be awesome, but I don't think it has the same replayability for me as it does the Dark Souls 1 and 2.
Sure.
Just because I think, and what John was saying the other day when Jeremiah was on, we were playing PS4 and stuff, and it has it's serious. Like, I love the story of Dark Souls 1, like the kind of mystery and intrigue of like what the crap's going on, and I like the idea of that you can open a door, all of a sudden you're in a snow area, or all of a sudden you're in like the deep belly of some ridiculous monster thing, you know. Where Bloodborne, it was more cohesive and it was like connected in a world, and it was very awesome. But I think I liked Dark Souls 1 better as just the overall game because it was, you know, I don't know, it just was crazy, and it had some humor into it as well. Like, I think you can have a lot more humor in the game. So, but yeah, I mean, I would take that game every year. So if they do a good quality.
Whose press conference do you think it's going to be at?
I would say Xbox.
Why? Why do you think so? I'm just curious.
Actually, I don't know. I guess I got it on Xbox 360, so that's why I'm saying it. But, I guess the original Dark Souls came out. No, it came out for both. My bad. It was Demon Souls that was PS3 only, and then Dark Souls came out for Xbox One and PS3, or Xbox 360 and PS3. So I don't know, but I feel like it might be an Xbox announcement, but we'll see.
Okay, maybe just because PS4 got Bloodborne, maybe they did like a different exclusive deal.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe not even just an exclusive, but just for the announcement, trying to play both sides.
They'll probably make it sound like an exclusive.
Yeah,
coming. Only this fall, only on Xbox One for the first 24 hours, then on everything else.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
the best experience
like a preload
is exclusively on Xbox One. It is available on all the others.
I'm excited because James is really enjoying playing Dark Souls 2 with me, and it'll be fun to play Dark Souls 3 and stuff together, like starting at the same time.
That's a game I'll get on the PS4. Definitely to play with everybody. Like, I really want them to get the co-op experience better. But if they do that, I'll definitely buy that on the PS4. All right, Dave, what's our next news item?
Well, Jeremiah, let me open the correct tab and I'll tell you. The Witcher 3 has sold over 4 million copies across all platforms in the first 2 weeks. That's just the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's not GTA huge. That's not Call of Duty huge. But that's bigger than, like, everything that's not, you know, the god tier of games. Above AAA, there's just, like, platinum games like Call of Duty, Madden, GTA. Yeah. It's not up there, but for a AAA release, this is huge.
As an example...
Does that include NVIDIA?
It does, because they do actually get paid for those codes.
All right.
NVIDIA got, a bundle discount, I'm sure. But as a comparison, The Witcher 2, over its entire lifetime until, I think this is up to about just a few months ago, it only sold 2.8 million across the Xbox version and PC, and the Xbox version didn't launch till late 2012. So 2.8 million lifetime sales for Witcher 2, over 4 million for The Witcher 3 in 2 weeks. And what's really cool is that PC is actually 1.4 million of that. It's a third of the sales is PC, which is nice. I mean, the consoles
That's
just
unusual. Yeah.
Usually the consoles just have the sheer volume advantage, you know, every time. And the devs have said before, like, you know, The Witcher 3 would not have happened without the consoles. So it's cool to see that the PC is, you know, pulling its weight here for this release. And as far as GOG's optional Galaxy client, that's their kind of Steam competitor for their games, including The Witcher 3, but it is totally optional. They do have almost 700,000 PC players on that client, which is totally optional, which is cool. It does track updates, achievements, time played, stuff like that, just like Steam. But for it to be an optional platform with that many players already using it, that's pretty cool. It's good for them for the initial launch, for sure.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think the percentage of that is NVIDIA on that specifically?
That's a good question because we don't have exact sales figures for the cards. It's not a huge portion of it. Like graphics cards don't sell that fast.
Yeah,
right.
So I mean, I am totally guessing here. I would be surprised if it was 100,000. Like I bet it's substantially less than that.
I was going to say 50 to 100,000 too. Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't know for sure. Dave, can you Google real quick, see if you can find any like GTX 900 sales numbers? Or
I was looking earlier actually, and no one knows. They're not talking about the bundles. Like NVIDIA will not talk about bundle stuff. But what's cool is that even though I'm sure that the developers and GOG are getting a lower amount for those NVIDIA codes, they are GOG copies. So all the money goes directly to the developers and the publishers of The Witcher 3. It's not like they're giving away a Steam code where Steam takes a third of that discounted price. I'm sure that NVIDIA probably got a nice little deal, but everybody wins here, basically.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I see is this combined sales with the 970, 980, just in general.
Oh, what's that?
From like January.
Okay, what are those?
Over $1 million.
Since January?
Of the cards sold. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. That might be better than we were thinking then. I'm actually surprised it's that many. Normally...
Wait, 1 million graphics cards?
Yeah, that's pretty high.
That's blowing my mind. I thought the enthusiast market was a lot smaller than that.
Well, I mean,
it's still small.
Yeah, overall.
Comparatively, but that's...
I mean, apparently in February it took a big hit right after the 4 gigabyte thing. But.
I mean, Nintendo would be stoked if they sold that many Wii U's probably in that same time period. Like, the enthusiast market isn't tiny.
I'm saying for general, like for all
generally,
PC
well, that's
stuff,
the thing is because the enthusiast market, they don't buy like all at once like the console market does. So I'm surprised it was like in that short a time period. Normally things trickle over years and years and years. Like it's a very slow, steady stream and not a very large one. It doesn't normally come in big spurts, but people really do like the 900 series. So who knows? So I want to park on the GOG Galaxy thing for a second.
Yeah.
Because it's got some cool features and it's nice they didn't make it mandatory. It's got cool things like you can roll back to previous patches. You can select your DLC manually piece by piece and install it. Like it does a lot of things. You can launch the games
outside of it.
You can.
Too. You can install the games with GOG Galaxy and then just launch them from the folder while being offline too. Yeah.
It does a lot of things right, but you see a lot of people online talking about, well, why doesn't everyone else do this? Like this is so good. They did such a good job. Why doesn't everyone else? Why isn't this their business model? And I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Like, why don't more developers do it this way? Not necessarily have their own client, but like The Witcher 3 is super high quality, wasn't made on that tight of a budget, or that high of a budget. It's released to lots of fanfare. It's making them good money. It's beating their sales expectations. It comes with a low hassle client, and everyone loves it. So why doesn't everyone else do that?
Which aspect? I'm sorry.
Let's say first, why doesn't everyone like the Galaxy client? Why isn't Steam, Origin, and Uplay? Why aren't they like this?
Because they don't have to be. Honestly, right. I would assume that
people are used to it.
Since GOG is trying to get in the business, having better features, having better client focus is going to be one of their big points to get people to jump on board.
Do you think part of the reason is that GOG is mostly it's only dealing with things that sold through GOG, so GOG Galaxy, it's only games that are DRM free, at least on their platform. They're DRM free. There's certain types of games, like not a lot of AAA games come to GOG. Do you think that has something to do with it, where like Steam has to have more restrictive features in place because they have so many different developers who are going to be throwing a fit about lack of security on stuff? Do you think that plays into it?
I think so, actually. I was going to bring up the DRM issue, and I think that's actually a huge part of it. Not so much from developers and publishers even, but from the stakeholders in the publishing companies. DRM is not super effective after the first week, but it makes investors feel safe about their investment. It's like a little bit of an insurance policy. Even though there's not a significant real-world advantage to DRM, it looks good on paper. I think that does still mean something to these larger publishers.
I mean, they're also like an up-and-coming company too for what they're doing now. I don't know. I kind of think of it as like, I don't know, independent filmmaker that has nothing to lose, has never done anything. Like they have nothing to lose, you know what I mean? But then you have one that's like a big studio that they've put $250 million into a project. They have a lot to lose because they have to do this every year. Because they're a business, you know what I mean? So I mean, I think, and they also have to have something that is cooler than Steam. Like something's got to be better than Steam right now, you know, to make it worth their while. So
now, do you think, Joel? Do you think that CD Projekt Red? Do you think their next game is going to be this good? Like this DRM free, this low of a budget, this much content. Like, do you think lightning can strike twice, or are they going to have way too many shareholders breathing down their neck now they know there's this much money at stake?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if they're able to kind of keep their ability to kind of do what they want, and I was even talking with Dave about, apparently it's not even that amazing of a company, like just the way some people are treated, or like developer wise.
No, it's a game company. I mean,
but still, I'm just saying, like, I think the biggest thing they can learn from Witcher 3 is that people like the way they made this game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they can go, okay, yeah, we're making a different game. It probably has different combat, different this, but like, I think the biggest improvement over this one, over the last two Witchers, was they really added kind of modern controls and stuff. They were pretty ancient when it was like, hey, let's have a menu. Instead of just using one button to do something, let's add 5 buttons just because it's more immersive to press 5 buttons to do one thing. You know, they made it not just easier to play, but better to play. You know, just with following quests, like, oh, you have to, you know, and there's a lot of things they can still improve, but I mean, they did a phenomenal job on the game, and I think the only weakest part they have on it is just a little bit of polish here and there on stuff, but I mean, they should be able, I think they're gonna probably do it again for the next game.
I think go ahead, James.
I wonder how much of that the Xbox influenced that, since they were trying to get into the PC. Or get into the console market.
Oh, like,
yeah. Obviously, the people that play PC games and solely are used to, you know, a little bit more complicated control schemes. But like,
that's a good point, James.
RPGs,
I would bet that their port of The Witcher 2 to Xbox in 2012 was a big help for prepping for The Witcher 3. As far as controls and like just getting the menus a bit more streamlined, I'd bet, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think as far as The Witcher 3's success goes, it's like the perfect storm of you have a ridiculously good game. It's like, I think, 94% overall on Metacritic now, combined with a really fun success story that you can just like enjoy. Like, oh, these guys worked hard, they love their product, they like their customers, they treat them right. Like, everything's just like a feel-good story about it. So it all helped, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Until they get bought by EA.
all my nightmares.
All right, Joel, is this your news item, the next one?
Yeah, you know, this just made me really happy to hear, just because, you know, after I'm really happy that Witcher 3 did well, not even for that being that the game was just amazing, you know, it's a really phenomenal game, but that it's not a pre-purchase this, DLC packs, premium edition, like, you know, like I hate that stuff, and I've been hating that stuff for the last 6 years, for as soon as they started doing any of this crap, it's just bad. It's really bad. And I was actually reading about the start of DLC stuff, like that really kind of spiraled stuff out of control. Is initially, you know, it came out as expansion packs, right? But then there was a couple companies that were actually going out of business, and they were just trying to sell the crap out of their game, going, how can we make more sales out of the game? Like, they couldn't figure anything, so they started dicing stuff up to try to make more money. And apparently that worked in some cases. So other companies go, oh, well, it worked for them, maybe it'll work for us. Why aren't we jumping in on this? And then other people say, oh, well, this is a popular trend. And it's like, it kind of spiraled into this thing where I think people think it's a really great idea, where I don't think it's a great idea. I just think it worked for a few people, and then everyone expects the same thing, and then you think it's going to work. And I think people are really exhausted from it. And so when I read this article about... Oh, James?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, when I read this article about Halo 5, when it comes out, they're giving away all 15 free DLC maps for free.
Nice.
And their main purpose is they want to keep the community intact.
And they want to apologize for the Master Chief Collection.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's actually that. I think it's more like in Halo 4, John and I, we both played the crap out of that game. But there was, I think, 3 or 4 DLC packs. I think we got 1. But just by the time we started enjoying the first DLC pack, like really got into it, the next one's already out, then the next one's already out. And it was just like, well, every time we played, I was like, I don't know if I want to pay $10 or $15 for the next DLC pack when I'm still really enjoying this last one. I'm not even like, I haven't even barely touched this, you know? And so now we tried to play it, not now, but like when we were playing it, there was very like few people playing in the DLC map packs that we had. And so then it kind of dropped out. I was like, oh, well, we can't play the swap mode anymore because the maps we have, no one plays it anymore, and that was one of our favorite modes. So this is exciting, for anyone who has Halo 5.
I have a different theory.
Okay.
What's that?
I think it's just the pendulum of the market. Like, obviously, when a few studios could get away with selling a lot of DLC, everybody did that, and then people got sick of it. So it's going to swing towards
swing back now. They're going to be
the Witcher model,
guys.
And well, in all honesty, I imagine studios are already going to have stuff already planned. They're like, we could have released this with the game, but we're going to hold it back, and we're going to offer it as free stuff that comes later on. Mm-hmm. Just kind of as honestly, just a marketing PR thing. Yeah.
No, it would make sense. Like, DLC started working. Everyone starts doing DLC. People start getting sour on DLC. Some companies start moving away from it. They're seen as like, oh, they're the Mavericks. They're doing right by their customers. More companies will follow them. Like James said, the pendulum swings back. And then someone will come up with some new way to do DLC in like another 5 years. Oh, I'm sure it won't. But I think it's interesting that like a game as big as Halo is moving over that way. Like, I don't think Call of Duty probably will, because Call of Duty has stayed relevant way longer than Halo did. But we'll see if Halo can find a new audience on Xbox One, because obviously the Master Chief Collection has not like completely revitalized Halo.
Yeah.
Because of all its launch issues. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Halo 5. But good on them for at least offering it.
Yeah, I hope just more studios just do that. Although, did you guys see the article about Battlefront?
I added that down to the bottom.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, we'll talk about it then.
Well, let's do it now. Let's talk about it now.
It's
go for it, Joel. Yeah,
like you have like the deluxe edition. Okay, whatever. Deluxe editions. Okay, whatever.
$80, by the way.
Yeah.
$80.
So that's the game and a half edition almost.
I mean, like it's starting all over again. Honestly, as much as I love Star Wars, I hope this just destroys the shit out of them. I really do. Just stop doing this, you stupid freaking company. Like, stop with this. Like, if they come out, like, I told you earlier, like, it's going to be 100 trillion weapons, 7,000, like, little attachments, icons, colors, weapon like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, what the
So what does the deluxe edition include, the $80 deluxe edition?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm bringing up the image.
What is it?
Inflict more damage on enemy vehicles with the ion grenade, an extra ion torpedo that locks on to your opponent's vehicles, because Battlefield 4 definitely had too few lock-on weapons that were point and click to win. Get the Han Solo DL-44 blaster. Get electrified with the Ion Shock emote, and celebrate your win in style with a fist pump.
That sounds like that's worth $20.
Like, first of all, it's crap for $20, and it's in-game weapons. Now, I'm almost positive that you'll be able to unlock these weapons later on, but day one, you have an advantage, at least, if not a permanent advantage. It's a little bit of pay to win right out the gate.
I don't even care if people have a better weapon. Like, for gameplay-wise, I don't care about that, because there's always people that are better than me anyway, so really it doesn't matter at all. It's not like you're going to go in there and go, oh man, we're all on even ground. No, there's some guy, from who knows where, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. The game will just destroy you. Yeah, it'll just destroy you. It's more of like, okay, like why not just be like a pre-order thing? Like, hey, you pre-order the game, like we're giving this thing, kind of like Fallout New Vegas did. You get an extra couple like canteens or like a little pistol or a badge or something. Like, well, whatever, But it's like, here they go again. Like, they literally are not learning anything at all. Like,
well, I think they need to learn something. I mean, they're apparently making money, although I can't imagine Hardline was a huge success. But
yeah, I don't know. So,
but see, Battlefront was probably too far along to really reverse what they were doing on Battlefront. They've been working on that for like 2 years. So if they learn anything from Hardline, you won't see that for like another year at least. The next actual Battlefield game might be a lot different, depending on how disappointing Hardline was.
Speaking of Hardline, if we can just divert just for a second, this is kind of related. Are you done reading about Battlefront, Joel? Because we could go on with Battlefront
it's funny because you said Hardline, because I told Dave, I was like, I don't think Dave will get even past 60 hours in Hardline.
Probably not 60 now. I don't think so.
What do you have to now?
You're not. I'm like, dude, you're not coming back to that game. It's not going to happen.
20, I think.
Oh yeah,
you'll never ever get there.
I've got probably another 7 hours in single player, and we'll see with multiplayer. So the problem with Hardline and the DLC program, I was telling Jeremiah, some of the premium features, they still don't know what they are. Like that gun bench thing that everyone was assuming it was going to be some kind of in-game, like Medal of Honor back in, was it 2011, had like the cool little gun modifying bench. Everyone's like, oh, cool, we get that in Hardline for premium members. Not only is that not in the game yet for premium members, no one even knows what it is yet. It's not even like officially described. The first DLC comes out in, I don't know, sometime soon. I don't even know the dates. It's sometime in the future. And the PC community is roughly 1,000 to 1,500 players on weeknights right now. And some YouTubers got flown out to play the DLC this week, and a few of them have been posting videos saying like, hey guys, the DLC is okay and all, but if you're on PC, like, don't buy it because there's no one playing it already. Like, you're just going to divide the community again. So there's already rumors that EA may be thinking about scrapping the Hardline Premium program to just maintain player count.
Like just giving away the stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just rumors, but I can't think of what else they can do. Are you really going to release 5 DLCs over a year for a game that has 1,000 people playing it?
Have they released any yet?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, things aren't looking good.
And like I said, there's premium content that is not out yet. Like outside of the DLC, like premium bullet point features.
Promised content that people have already paid for that they have not received.
Outside of
the only reason the game is still afloat right now, I think, are people playing is because of console. Like, just because there's not a trillion other games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you want to play a first-person shooter on a console, your options are way limited, whereas people who are on the PC and enjoy Battlefield can just go back to Battlefield 3
Because on console community, you just tend to, like, you move to the next game. You know what I mean? Like, the community just moves to the next game that comes out, generally.
And one last thing on the Hardline DLC, the other thing that's kind of fueling these like free premium program rumors, like the EA is just going to scrap it, is that in the spring patch for Battlefield 4, which is a huge patch, they added another Gunmaster mode, like a whole new mode to the game, and like I think 5 new weapons all for free. And apparently, not only are they releasing a community map DLC for Battlefield 4 soon that has that community design map in it, but they're also releasing a throwback DLC with 4 of the older Battlefield maps revamped for Battlefield 4, also for free. So there's like new DLC coming out for free for Battlefield 4 because that game has like 25,000 players a night still. I mean, if you're getting free DLC for Battlefield 4, why are you going to pay the 80, 70, 60 bucks for Hardline Premium? It could make sense for them to give it away.
You guys ready for the ultimate premium platinum edition of Hardline that'll come out eventually?
For $10.
You know it will. Yeah.
Do you guys feel like we talk about early access, like how it's a gamble, like they literally could just not finish the game? Do you guys ever feel like buying premiums and season passes and stuff could be kind of a gamble too?
Depends on the game, I think.
Honestly, nowadays, I think I would agree with you, James. Now more that it's like, is it going to come out in time that it's going to be relevant? Like, I'm almost like, I'm not maybe worried that it's going to come out, but I'm more a little bit worried about, like, is it going to come out by the time I even still am interested in even playing it? Like, let's say, let's say The Witcher 3 came out, right? And it performed so bad graphically. It was a great game, but it was so bad. Actually, better example, Bloodborne, right? Let's say, like, trying to summon each other, like, play co-op, like when it first came out, like it was pretty bad. Like it was really hard to get anything to work, right? Well, by the time I almost finished the game, it was when they finished, they got the patch out that really it's working quite well now.
Oh yeah.
But for me, I'm like, I didn't mind it as much because I generally play those games kind of first time solo and everything, but that would be really frustrating for someone who was only in it for co-op by themselves and that doesn't work at all. And then by the time you kind of beat the game by yourself, it's like, oh, now the patch comes out. Well, I don't want to play it anymore,
Well, so, make it more relevant. Like if you bought the season pass when Destiny came out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was okay at first, and it was just like,
yeah,
again. Yeah, I think there's very few games you should buy the pass for, like, up front. You should definitely make sure the game works, like, when it launches. And then if you want to buy it, like, later that week, buy it later that week. But, like, what should a developer, like, what would be a good enough reason to order it ahead of time? Like, I haven't even bought the Witcher season pass yet, or whatever they're going to call, the expansion pack pass. I know I'm going to, because The Witcher 3 is that good, but, like, why would people buy this stuff ahead of time? It's a digital pre-order. Like, there's no real reason to buy it ahead of time. Wait till you know it's good.
Well, usually this cost savings not even that
There
Yeah.
isn't
No,
usually
there is
cost
cost
savings. They just give you like you have the privilege of buying premium Battlefield Premium for the same price you can buy it as when it releases. Like, there's
Dave,
no
remember that?
advantage.
Remember that premium you got me for Battlefield 4?
You bastard. I was going to say about the Witcher 3 expansion pass. I already bought that because I got a free code for the base game, and I just wanted to give them more money. Like, I trust in the product.
Again,
I was
that's
ready
a
to
little
buy
bit
it
of an
right
outlier.
now.
It's a really awesome game. I would buy
Yeah.
Cities Skyline Season Pass if they had one. Like, they've done such a good job. I'm not afraid to give them money. Like, they haven't burned me yet.
Guess who hasn't bought Hardline Premium, though? This guy. Because Battlefield 4 Premium was not worth it. Although I loved Battlefield 3 Premium. You've got to have your customers trust in your products to do that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's
All right.
we're going to see another pendulum swing with that too with Season Pass. I think it's going to be a short fad.
Speaking of
I hope so.
swings,
I hope so, James the Wise. You're foretold.
we consult James the Old. He's been through these cycles before. James,
When
what does the Oracle
Atari
say?
started doing DLC,
That was called the next game, and it took up 4 megabytes on the cartridge.
they could just add an extra color in the palette.
It's a red cartridge now. Woo!
James, remember when we played Indiana Jones on Atari? Oh man, that was
We need to
awesome.
I
pull up
don't
the
remember.
video sometime.
I want a full PS4 HD remaster of just like 150 old Atari games. That's what I want.
Welcome to the PC. We have emulators.
Yeah, you need to come up with an algorithm to take old games and like vectorize them.
With that pixel art stuff, that wouldn't even be that hard. I'm sure.
And then auto deploy them to the App Store. 1 week of copyright infringement.
All right. Speaking of pendulum swings, everyone knows how I like upgrading my stuff.
Oh boy, here we go.
Everyone also knows I like 4K.
Oh, do you?
And he cannot lie.
I do have a 4K monitor, Dave. Have I told you about it? See, when
heard
you're
rumors.
gaming at 4K, things are different. Yeah, I have 4K. I like 4K. I didn't buy 4K for gaming. It's nice for gaming, but I bought it for the actual work I do. It makes a huge difference in photo editing, like checking sharpness on pictures and stuff. It also really slows the computer down when you're editing a bunch of RAW files at 4K. But
You know the funny part about you're checking the sharpening for photos is you get them so nice, and then your clients view them on like a 3GS.
no, I know. Well, dude, in my office, I have one of my lenses. It's an 85 millimeter 1.8 prime. It's not super sharp wide open. It just isn't. Like, it's what I would call acceptably sharp wide open. And I shoot most of my stuff wide open. Wide open means at the the largest aperture possible, which means you have the most background blur. If you guys are used to seeing pictures with like the really blurry backgrounds, that's a lens being shot like wide open. So I had this picture and I was like, I really like the pose. I took it during an engagement shoot. It was nice, but like it just wasn't that sharp. But I did go ahead and print it out and hang it up in my office. It's 20 by 30 inches, and you can't, like, it looks sharp as a tack when you're right up next to it. Like, you can't see any issues with it. And that just made me laugh. I was like, how many other pictures am I like, I don't know if that's print quality. Like, one of the pictures on my wall that everyone seems to like the most is this one that was shot at f1.4 for any of you photographers in a dark basement, and I was autofocusing with a Canon, which is like hell for anyone who owns Canon cameras. They kind of suck at autofocus. And like that looks super sharp hanging up on the wall just because you can't tell. It's such a large picture, you can't tell when it's printed out. So anyway, I really like 4K. I have a 27-inch Dell 4K monitor. It's great. The only complaints I have with it are that because it's 27 inches, you have to scale everything in Windows, and Windows is not great at scaling. Windows 8 is way better than Windows 7. Windows 7 is almost unusable. But Windows 8 is okay, and Windows 10 is supposed to make that a lot better. So SEIKI, the people who make those really cheap 4K TVs, they have launched a professional monitor, a 4K 40-inch professional monitor. It's not IPS. It's some MVA or something. Like, it's a similar technology to IPS, but it's not IPS. It's somewhere between a TN panel or a TFT panel and IPS. But it's capable of 10-bit color, which is really awesome. It's 4K, and it's 40 inches, and it's $1,000. It has swivel on the stand. It's got 4 USB ports, DisplayPort, HDMI, DVI, VGA, which seems like a really weird choice. I am incredibly tempted. It's the same pixel density as a 27-inch 1440p monitor. So those 27-inch 1440p monitors that everyone loves these days for high-end gaming, like Dave is using one right now.
Yep.
That pixel density, but 40 inches on my desk. And like, I would only be a little bit tempted, but I did just sell a lens I wasn't using. So I'm sitting on very close to that amount of money right now that I was going to spend on another lens. But you know, maybe I'll just be
for business. It's for
maybe
photography.
I'll just be a lens down for the rest of the season. Who knows? And I extend my offer again to you guys. If any of you want to buy a lightly used Dell 27-inch 4K monitor, you just let me know. Joel, buddy, I know how you've been looking to upgrade your PC a little bit.
I'm out of this game. It's for youngins.
Half-Life 3 announced. Joel's back.
Yeah, that might be the only.
So what do you guys like? Do you think 4K is a more entertaining value proposition at 40 inches because you don't have to scale Windows? That's the main advantage of it, other than it's huge, is that Windows does not require any scaling. What do you think?
Why does it do that in the freaking anyways? Why does it do that?
Why does what?
Doesn't Mac OS X, like the latest Mac, work pretty well on like high density screens now? Like,
well, it has, because they started putting out high-density screens, so they have to release stuff for it. Remember, on a PC, Microsoft is making Windows. It has to work on legacy hardware. Apple does not give a crap about legacy hardware.
No, I know that.
So that's why.
Which is great. That's why they're moving into the future, not just staying in the past.
It's great for people. It's great for upper-middle-class people, that's for sure. But Windows has to work on very old computers as well, so they need scaling because they need to be able to work on like 1024 by 768 monitors, shudder, as well as 1440p and 4K. So really, they're just hitting the best of both worlds. You know, they're just trying to make it as good of an experience for as many people as possible. And I know that I'm not in a big segment of the population. Like, not many people buy 4K monitors yet. That's not a big thing. There's no reason they should cater to those people yet. But they're not great. You know, the scaling's not great. Hopefully it does get better. Back on the photo editing thing for just a second. You know, it's so slow at 4K. Apple has that new 5K iMac. I'm curious to see what Bridge and Lightroom are like on that 5K iMac, because my computer's
ridiculous.
Definitely faster. Like, I'm sure it looks great, but my computer's definitely faster. I'd love to throw 100 gigs of RAW files at it and see what happens. Like, that can't be fun.
My next editing computer, or I'm gonna probably switch to Mac. I'm waiting. I wouldn't want to get this 5K iMac just because I think the CPU speed is gonna be too slow right now. Yeah. I'll wait for the next generation, because I do know that if you try to do like hardcore stuff on Macs, if you don't get the highest end, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
My brother has the Mac Pro, or that little like the circle cylinder kind of thing, and it's pretty awesome. It runs really nice.
For the money, it should.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend that much. But I am very tempted for the next editing machine, just because my brother and everyone that I'm working with, they all work on Macs and all the systems. And I want to switch to Adobe Premiere, and it would just be nice to have everything kind of seamlessly work together with everyone. Yeah. And I would love to have that. I mean, the 5K on a small, it's not a ridiculous huge screen, but it's something kind of small. That thing's gonna be freaking clear. And you're going to have lots of room if if I shoot the next film at like a 2K or 4K or something like that. You have lots of extra room for, workspace.
Yeah. So,
I say get it, man.
Yeah, I love Joel.
You have that lens. How much more do you have to spend after that lens? It was like $250?
I have all the money, because I've got personal money sitting there.
But I'm saying, like, how much past, like, over, the lens
$250. But then if I sell my Dell monitor, then I make like another $500 back.
Joel, the lens sale is just an excuse. That's why he doesn't even care about that.
Oh, says the pot to the kettle. Says the pot to the kettle. Have you heard Dave rationalize any of his graphics card purchases?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't. You really want, go for it, man.
That's your entire philosophy for life, Joel, is I really want it. Go for it.
Speaking of which,
get that ass.
I say, wait, think about it. Do the adult thing. You're never going to have enough. Jeremiah,
that's true.
You're never going to have enough.
That's true. That's very true.
That's another reason why I'm saying get it, because it's not like later on you're gonna be like, oh, well, now I'm ready for it, because you're just gonna get it and be like, crap. You're gonna wait another 3 months to get it, or 5 months. They're gonna have a 5K 40-inch, and then you'll be like, oh god, I got 55K 50-inch. Oh my god. I say go for it, man.
Says the person that convinced me to buy.
If that money needs to go for something completely else.
Well, I'm car shopping right now, so that's worth thinking about. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a serious thing. Then I say go with James. Don't do it.
But
if you had nothing of that.
But I'm not shopping for a replacement car. I feel like such an ass.
Are you kidding me?
I'm shopping for a third car.
Okay, why are we even debating this? You're getting an extra car. You're like, oh, I don't know if I should get a 40-inch 4K screen.
You'll get your 4K screen, 4K car,
I'm making myself sound much richer than reality right now. I'm sounding like a giant douche right now.
Why don't you show me your bowl of ramen?
I had fried rice for dinner, thank you very much, with mixed vegetables and chicken.
Ooh, a meat.
Well, we can move on. Ooh, a meat. And with that,
I feel like that's Joel's only job is to convince people to buy things, though, because I've definitely bought 2 decks of Gwent cards today because of
what?
Joel.
Dave?
Yeah.
I did too.
Because Joel bought 3 decks.
Now, is that the complete deck of like the Northern Kingdoms, or
I got the Northern Realms, and I got the Nilfgaardian, and like the neutral ones. I guess it has.
What's
like
the point of playing against
Ring.
someone else? Because then you both have the same deck.
Well, you can only play certain cards in it. Yeah, it's random, so we'll have to shuffle them, and we'll see what cards we get.
Oh, so you'll do a random draw.
We'll have to kind of update it a little bit, some of the rules to play live. But I mean, honestly, it's definitely one of my most favorite card games I've ever played.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is. I'm kind of surprised that I've actually still wanted to play. Like, I never do that. Like, Joy, she can play, what is the freaking game? Solitaire. I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't get where the fun is at all in it. Like, that and Sudoku. I'm like, what? You're doing math. Why are you doing this? It looks like math. Maybe it is. I don't know what it is. But I
you had done that growing up.
You wouldn't buy so many things now. I'm just kidding.
I can subtract.
I mean, I'm not wrong, but I'm just kidding. There is actual major Oculus Rift news today. The Oculus Rift has been officially unveiled. Like the final Oculus Rift. Presumably, then it's going to have a major presence at E3. If they're rolling it out the week before E3, they want to get some of that blog roll traffic. They want to be talked about before everyone announces their stuff. But the first quarter of next year, the Oculus Rift's going on sale. They won't tell you the price, but they'll say the computer or the headset plus all the PC hardware needed to run will sell for less than $1,500, which tells you absolutely nothing because, like, it could be $800 and they're like, but you only need a $700 PC, or it could be $200. You need a $1,300 PC. Like, that tells you absolutely nothing.
I hope they get the price to $300. It comes with a
potato masher.
I hope it sells for $300.
Ooh, if there was like, oh man, if there's like an Oculus Rift rental service, I'd love to rent it and see can a $350 PC actually run an Oculus Rift for anything.
I bet you could finagle that. I bet you could call
some games.
I need to look into
I'm just saying demo games. Only because my computer, it had a really hard time on like any legit games. The ones that were like I had a couple space simulator ones.
But that was pre-release. That was pre-release though.
Yeah. I mean, I did try it 6 months later, even just on my PC with no Oculus, and it chugged. Like it's a hardcore game. So,
look, Jeremiah, be realistic. Joel's gonna buy it, so I mean, you don't need to rent it.
I'm not sure I'll get the Oculus again.
He'll get Morpheus because Morpheus is going to be the better experience.
Can you say that again?
What?
You're not sure what? You'll get the Oculus again?
Remember? Okay, do you remember why I sold it? I sold it because of Norman, because it was going on sale and I got $450 for it. No, sorry, $500 for it, and I bought it for $400.
That's
so I was
pretty awesome.
All right, it made sense, and I was able to buy a ticket for Steven to come down and film.
Scalper.
So I had to. Yeah, I felt bad. I enjoyed it, but there really wasn't any games at the time. So
right, it was really for people to play around with. It wasn't really for you to enjoy. It was for developers to work with.
I have 3 big details I wanted to talk about this real quickly. That I was impressed, that I'm excited for, that they're doing. One is they're adding a built-in headset for it. I mean, headphones into it, and that's I've been listening to a lot of 3D audio lately on YouTube, just like 3D tours. It's just really cool. I've never really done that before, and it's just really fascinating. And that's supposed to be built into the Oculus. So that's really exciting that it's already built in. It's like you don't, because with the Oculus, it was a little frustrating putting headphones over it. Like you have a lot of different cables and stuff going over it. It's nice that they already have it built in. You don't have to worry about it. You can apparently take it off and then use your own headphones.
For people with good headphones.
Yeah. But, you know, if your headphones don't fit well over it, then your $150 headphones,
$150. How poor do you think I am?
Well, not pretty poor. You can't afford a Mac. For the upper class.
And then there's intelligent, but sure.
Yeah.
Can we have an impulse cast someday, and we'll just go back and forth?
I'll load it with like 9 graphics cards by the end of it.
Second, they showed off a couple images of the Oculus Rift store, and that was exciting to see. It looks like they are bringing in a virtual reality like menu system, something like that, and that is absolutely needed for it. So once you put it on, you're already in a 3D environment to choose things. You don't have to kind of like half peek with one eye, use your mouse and keyboard controls. Then third, super wise move. They made a connection with Microsoft. They made a deal with them that the Oculus will be bundled with a Microsoft Xbox One controller. So that probably contributes to the price, because I think the controllers by themselves are like $60, I think.
Yeah.
But they said, they're like, why are we going to spend so much time making a controller when we could just be spending all of our time making good VR and not compete against a controller that's pretty much the best controller you can buy?
But
You know what I
they
mean?
did make controllers, though.
No.
Oh, okay,
But
sorry.
It's different. Like, this is going to be a VR controller. So, I mean, everyone's trying to work on one to figure out what works the best. So their VR controller will come out much later after the Oculus actually comes out. So it's not going to make day one. But that was exciting to see that they are going, hey, you know, because that's really important, having a dedicated controller with it. Because here's the thing is, everyone gets Oculus Rift, you don't have a controller, working a keyboard is absolute crap with VR. It really is bad.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
First, once you put it on, you either have to peel it off to kind of see where your hands are, find the mouse, and you easily start turning, and you're like reaching for the mouse, and you're like knocking into stuff. Where I think if you have a controller, it's going to be easier to just,
yeah,
you know.
the muscle memory is way easier.
Yeah. So anyways, that's smart.
But Joel, I've got these little raised ridges on 2 of the keys on my keyboard that help your hands find their position. Problem solved.
But the biggest thing I hope with their new controller,
and this is cool.
the VR one.
This is really cool.
Yeah, the VR one, it's got like a weird little loopy thing. Imagine like it's like holding onto 2 little like claws that have a joystick, like a 360 controller has buttons, but then it has, think of like an armband, but that goes around your hand, like underneath. And I'm guessing it's where it has like a what's that one piece of technology? It's kind of like the Kinect, but they had it on PC. It's a different company that
Track IR or
Leap Motion.
It's not I think it's Leap Motion. I think it's that.
Yeah, Leap Motion. Yeah.
Yep. I think they're actually using a bit of that inside the controller. And so apparently you can actually point and gesture with your fingers while still holding the controller, and it will detect that. So, because the biggest thing that because I read a lot on VR stuff, just like developer kit stuff, like things they've learned. It's really fascinating podcast. And they said the biggest thing they've learned so far is that people like to see their hands in the game. That's really important, because it kind of feels like when you put the VR goggles on that you're like standing on a fence looking over the fence and your hands are behind it. You can't you're looking around, but it feels weird, like you can't interact with it. So just seeing your hands, even if you can't do much with it, it makes you feel like you're in the game more. So the one thing I hope is that they actually add the ability that when you're in VR, you can actually detect where the controllers are when they're turned on. Because that's another big thing. Like, you have to constantly open up, look where the controller, like if you set it down somewhere, if it falls off the table or something, you always have to like lift the VR up and down. It'd be cool if it was like actually tracked with the camera that's sensing where the Oculus is, where the controllers are. So you could see a little like blinking light or like a little like dim little silhouette icon of where your controllers is.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. That's the type of killer peripheral they kind of need, is something to let your hands enter the game and be good.
Why can't we have the power glove again? That's all I want.
Someone's gonna mod. Someone's gonna mod a power glove.
I hope so. That would be
someone
epic.
on Etsy for $500 will sell you a power glove. Oh gosh! You just spent money on Etsy today for Gwent cards. I don't want to hear it.
I'm all about that Etsy copyright infringement.
Caters to your little loot fetish.
I told Dave the reason he got Witcher for his wife is so he could justify spending more on collectibles.
Dave's not stupid. When he wanted to get a PS4, he showed his wife Bloodborne and Lego games, and that worked out really well. And then he wants to get Gwent cards. He buys our copy of The Witcher. Dave knows what's up. Jessie doesn't watch this, does she?
Not usually.
Cool, we're good.
But I also claimed half the goodies from the PS4 version. I got one sticker. I got a copy of the map.
Wow, a sticker. Woo!
I really wanted it. I'm a real fan.
I could have given you my map, dude. If you really
I'll take
want
two.
to.
Wait. I do have to say that I told Dave I think I am more immersed than he is in Witcher because I have 2 decks, one more deck than him, and I also have a Witcher coin that's coming along with it.
I convinced him to buy the Witcher 2, the Temerian coin that came with the Witcher 2
Collector's
Edition.
As usual, if you want something cool, convince Joel that it would be cool. Joel will buy it. You can borrow it.
I like it. I love the game.
Yeah,
just as much
Joel,
as you talk about your annoying bullcrap car stuff that no one cares about. We can talk about Gwent cards.
Yeah, Joel, I tell you what, though, you totally got me there. You're so much more immersed than I am. Hey, maybe you should get a 4th deck to be totally immersed. That would show me, dude. If you bought the last deck, I'd be so screwed.
I told him, I was like, I'm going to play with Debbie.
I think we should do a competition to see who can learn Polish first.
James is just wanting to watch the world burn now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, we can next year this time. You guys have to know Polish, and you have to be able to play Witcher completely without subtitles in Polish.
Yeah, I don't want to play this game. I'll go ahead and fold. So, that was the news. And also our main topic tonight, because we had some news things that...
A lot of confessions in there, too, about us throwing money at things.
Now Joel's enabling me. I really want to buy that monitor right now. It's good that, I don't have, a micro center or something near me where I can actually go get stuff in person. Even though for $4, Amazon will have it here tomorrow, and that's still available.
Jeremiah, if you had a micro center 2 miles away from your house, how often would you be window shopping?
I would love to go for stuff like monitors. I'd love to go look at it, at least, and touch it. I got to touch stuff. If I touch it, I know if it's good or not.
Your hand's so big you can feel the entire thing at once.
That's true. Most things.
Jeremiah, I'm enabling you because everyone needs somebody to blame for their choices. So you know what? I'm the Batman of blame. Just blame me. You'd be happy with the 4K.
What does that mean?
That's amazing.
No, it makes sense.
Dave gets me. Dave gets me right now.
Yeah, that's really
so people
good.
like, Jeremiah, you got a 4K monitor? Well, Joel really, he pushed me to buy it. He said it would be a good deal, so you could blame me. So you feel better about yourself.
I
My
prefer to take
2970s.
responsibility for my own actions. No gods, no kings, only men.
He's not the one we deserved. The one we needed.
Joel is more than anyone deserves.
Nobody deserves that.
But we did it anyway.
Worthy.
Hashtag blessed. All right. So anyway, it's time for
Let's
the
not do
mail.
that again.
It's time for the mail, Joel.
Mail time.
Jeez. Oh.
There it is.
Donate to Patreon so we can hire a new host who remembers to sing the freaking song. Anyway, you can write into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com, to be a part of the show. Just like Grant. Grant said, "Hey guys, I just wanted to give my quick thanks and then ask a quick question. First of all, thank you for helping me understand what the Witcher series is all about. I've never been a person who liked fantasy RPGs, but one day I bought The Witcher 2 because it was only $4. I couldn't get into it, and I just chalked that up to me not liking fantasy RPGs. Then a couple of days ago, you guys were reviewing various aspects of The Witcher 3 on one of your podcasts, and one of you started describing that quest where you can help or kill the Noonwraith at the well. You guys said something along the lines of, you actually have to do real Witcher work. You have to research, prepare, etc. That's when it clicked for me. I bought Witcher 3 that day, and I've logged 20 hours since, which is much higher than normal for me. So thanks for helping me understand the only fantasy RPG I've ever liked. That's high praise."
Honestly, on a side note, I feel like The Witcher is really good at grounding the fantasy parts. It's a very medieval world, kind of like how Game of Thrones does it, where there's magic and myth and stuff like that, but it's grounded by so much just like human depravity that it feels very real.
And then he has a question. Do you guys find RPG games more likable when their world is gritty, like Witcher or Lord of the Rings, as opposed to cartoony, World of Warcraft or Skyrim? I personally disagree with Skyrim being super cartoony, but I guess it bridges the gap somewhere in there. I always find the orcs and elves in games like Skyrim and WoW too cartoony, and I think that might contribute to why I don't like them. The worlds of Lord of the Rings and Witcher 3 are gritty, the orcs are dirty, nasty, and vicious, and the combat system in Witcher 3 is pretty brutal with all the gore and decapitations. Thanks for reading. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like RPG games when they're dark or when they're more lighthearted, or do you have a preference?
I like both, honestly. I mean, Kings of Amalur, I mean, it was happy, fun. It's funny, that game looks actually really innocent, but then when you do like a charge-up attack, it like literally shoves a sword down someone's throat. Like, it's just all like, what the crap? But the rest of the game is actually really, really happy and just like, dum 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 dum, collecting quests. Oh my gosh, I gutted you!
I like that song. We should collecting quests. Killing a bunny. Oh, I found a new subreddit today. r/effing with nature, although it's spelled all the way out. and it's just people screwing with animals. Like, this guy put a skateboard underneath a turtle, and so the turtle is strapped to it, and the turtle's running along the ground like super fast on the skateboard. and there's one where, like,
that sounds pretty awful.
Where this cat chases off alligators who are coming out of the water to try to steal its food, and this house cat is swatting it at it, like a 3 or 4 foot long alligator, and like hissing at it like as an idiot. There's this couple that they had their snake that hung out around their porch, Fabrice they called him, and Fabrice was like their little buddy. He lived there for a couple months, and then one day Fabrice was trying to catch a frog, but the frog was out of reach. They helped Fabrice get the frog, and then they started shooting this video, and Fabrice gets like his mouth on one of the frog's legs, and then the frog starts screaming, and the girlfriend in this couple starts really regretting help the snake killed his frog, and starts going, oh no, what have we done? Oh, this is terrible. And the frog's going, and the snake's just like, mine. Anyway, so r/effing with nature. It's a good time.
To answer your question though, for me,
yes.
JERMgaming.
Sorry, yeah, back to that.
Yeah, putting aside animal abuse briefly, I can't.
Nature.
I can't do lighthearted fantasy. It's really not my thing. Like I can never get past the graphics and the style for a while.
Dark fantasy.
The darker, the better.
Although if you have maps and card games and coins and things, I'm also down for that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's light fantasy that has good lore, maybe I'll take a look. But yeah, for me, it's Game of Thrones and Witcher, not WoW and Kingdoms of Amalur. Even like I liked the game, but the aesthetics were hard for me to get past.
Yeah, aesthetics definitely matter for me. Also, I think a lot it comes down to just the way the gameplay is styled. Like, the thing that kills WoW for me is all the freaking pop-ups and boxes everywhere, and the insultingly stupid fetch quests, the same thing that's in, like, Dragon Age and the Elder Scrolls games. I like the Elder Scrolls games, but, like, it's so stupid, a lot of the side quests in those games, where it's literally like, hello, savior of the entire realm. I need 11 onions, and I can't go pick them from that garden over there that I'm pointing at.
There's a wolf.
Can you go scare off one wolf and pick these onions for me? It's like, no, screw off. I got stuff to do. Like, that's stupid. Like, that for me drags, like, if the game takes itself seriously, I'll get immersed into it.
Exactly.
But
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, or if the game is totally over the top like Borderlands, I'm also down with that. But like, if it's going to be stupid, it should commit. It shouldn't toe the line. Like, the Elder Scrolls games, I don't think are trying to be lighthearted. I think they're just using kind of older game design elements. So the style has gotten grittier. Like, when they went to Skyrim, people's faces glowed less, and, their eyes were a little less dead and everything like that.
It's actually Joel's life philosophy, I think, is if you're gonna go stupid, commit. Go crazy.
But yeah, that's what we think. And then Venki wrote in to casualshenanigans@gmail.com and said, hey, filthy casuals. What's up, you filthy casual? I would be interested in listening to you guys talk about Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I personally feel that Deus Ex Human Revolution was an awesome game and that it gives good reason for people to be excited about the sequel. So what do you think of it? Have you guys played any of the previous Deus Ex games, especially Human Revolution? If yes, can you just spend some time talking about the series in general too? I reached your channel when the Glorious PC Master Race, that's a Twitter channel, when the Glorious PC Master Race tweeted about your Potato Masher recently, and so I'm a new listener / viewer of your podcast. I have a request for you. I would be interested in seeing what an optimal upgrade for the Potato Masher would be. Like, what's the next best upgrade? The graphics card, the processor, the RAM? What would be the best bang for the buck upgrade for the Potato Masher? I'm loving your content and can't understand where you haven't gotten all the subscribers you deserve yet. I wish you good luck with your channel and life. Cheers and Shao. Venki from India. P.S. Is there a way I can support you guys in ways other than Patreon? I'm just a college student, and so I would love more cheaper ways to encourage you guys. So I read the whole email up front because there's a couple different things, so we'll just work backwards. Well, you can donate only like $1 on Patreon, but in all seriousness,
or student loans.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Donate your student loans to us.
Yeah, no, Venki. In all
textbooks.
In all seriousness, it's enough to us that you're listening to the podcast and you enjoy it and you like our content. Like, we really appreciate everyone who supports us on Patreon, but we don't give them any special treatment. I mean, they get a few things a little
other than
early,
the special treatment they get.
They get a couple things early, but everyone gets us stuff eventually. Like, we're not, you mean just as much to us in that you...
It's so they're timed exclusives. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, James, way to undermine us being nice to this guy.
No, I would... Community events, man. Come out to all those community events.
Yeah, that'd be... Come out.
That's the best way to really...
Stuff like we're doing tonight where, we're doing the I know you're in India, so this, like, time zone wise, this might be a little difficult, but if you can come out to like our GTA events or Arma events or whatever of those games you play, don't buy any game just because you want to play with us, but if you already own some of those games, come out and play with us. We'd love to, like, get to know you. And it goes for any of our subscribers. Like, our Teamspeak server is in the description of all these videos for a reason. We want you guys to hop on and say hi. Like, people probably, I guess some people might get the impression, like, once you have thousands of subscribers on YouTube, that that's somehow a big deal, but it really isn't. Like, ask us how much money we make. We're not allowed to tell you. But, like, trust me, it's not that big of a deal. Like, not that much really changes other than the number of people on the internet who think you're an idiot. But, like, with the exception of some of the absolute biggest YouTubers, most everyone else you're going to meet on YouTube is pretty normal people just like you. And we would love to hang out with you and play games with you and get to know you. If you like our stuff, that means a lot to us, and honestly, that's enough. But if you'd like to come hang out with us and play games with us or anything else, that'd be awesome. Now, the best bang for the buck upgrade for the Potato Masher, will be really quick about that. Out of the graphics card, the processor, or the RAM, I would say the two best upgrades would be 4 more gigs of RAM and an SSD.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
I gotta say this. Jeremiah, did you make up this email so it makes sense for you to try to get that extra 4 gigs of RAM? You trying to warm me up to that? Like, oh, this guy says we should get 4 gigs of RAM, so I guess we gotta do it, guys.
And he's magically gonna have a stick sitting on the shelf.
Like, look at this.
I can give that. I can donate that.
It doesn't count, guys. It was viewer donated.
No, he's real. He's a real boy or girl. I don't know what gender Venki is. I'm sorry. But I would say RAM and then an SSD.
For sure.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you upgrade your processor, you have to do your motherboard and your processor, so that's going to be an expensive upgrade. And the graphics card is not even close to being pushed at 1080p now. Like, it maxes out in every game, but it has no trouble playing every game at decent settings. So an SSD will make the entire system more responsive. It probably won't make gaming a whole lot better, but it'll make the system so much faster to use. And 4 more gigs of RAM is really just future-proofing, and it's the cheapest upgrade you could possibly do. So
there's just even when you're not gambling, just turning on the computer and it booting that fast, just like
yeah, for an SSD, that's really nice.
That's good. That's good. I feel good about that purchase.
About the SSD?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you using one on your home computer now?
James, can you say that again? Oh yeah.
Yeah, seriously, an SSD is one of those things where, like, if people are looking to upgrade, like, their graphics card or something, it's hard to convince them, no, $150 should go towards an SSD. And then every single person I know who's gotten one and used it, they come back and you're like, oh, holy crap. Oh, yeah, this is actually really
makes amazing. Your computer feel like
a new computer.
Well, not even a new computer. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like,
it's like
your computer can now keep up with you, is what it feels like. A mechanical hard drive, to me, I was always waiting on something. It wasn't like tons of waiting. It was those like little bursts of like seconds of just things loading that constantly gets under your skin, and you don't realize how badly until it's not there anymore. When your computer just responds to everything that you want it to do, it's a game changer.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've grown used to, like, with a mechanical hard drive, turning on the computer, running, grabbing a drink, coming back, and logging in. Like, I literally barely get out of the room and it's already, like, ready for me to log in. I'm like, holy crap. And, like, when you launch a program.
When did you install a SSD, James?
Yeah,
it's been over a year.
Okay. Yeah, Dave was the first one that convinced me to get one, and I was just like, holy crap. It's like, it's a computer.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
like Dave was saying, you know, he spends. I wouldn't get necessarily frustrated. I mean, sometimes I get frustrated with launcher programs, but I just get used to mentally checking out, like reading something, and it's just like the power of thought almost. It's just like, I want to open this, it's going to open.
Jeremiah, I'm going to bow out for a second here and try to fix my internet connection. It is dying over here for me.
Oh, your connection still looks good, but go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, Skype says for me it's dying, and for me, like, it's actually hard to hear you guys. It's so bad. So I'm going to make sure the PS4 isn't updating or something. I'll be back.
Okay.
You know, the experience for me for SSD hard drive, like, I think I had a iPod, like an iPod Touch before that, and so for me, using iPod Touch and like clicking on mail, I know it was like a small little apps and stuff like that, but it felt so quick that when I got the SSD, I was like, I didn't even realize a computer could be this fast, like as fast as an iPod Touch. Like the way it's like, oh, you click on a button, like it just opens, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, never going back.
It's like that feeling when you like freshly format your hard drive.
Oh yeah.
That's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And then it's like all the time. It's like,
yeah, and honestly, like if someone came to me and said, I want to buy a $500 laptop for school, I want it to be good and last me a couple years, what should I do? I would say find a $300 refurbished laptop if you don't need a ton of storage space, and then buy an SSD and pop in it, because that will feel better than like any $500 laptop you could possibly buy. Like, because for basic computing, processors are fast enough, and they have been fast enough for a long time. Like, a cheap $40 processor that you can buy brand new can play 1080p videos and do all that kind of stuff. If you're not gaming, and if you're not doing like video editing or something, for like a basic computer people use for ordinary day-to-day stuff, their processors have been fast enough for years. So an SSD is like that next step of, that's like removing the last bottleneck. You know, a computer with an SSD it'll feel just that fast until the SSD breaks. Basically,
anybody buying the Mac Pro when they had the line where you could actually get the SSD or the regular standard drive, when they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this," I'm like, "No, don't!" Like they didn't believe me, because I got the MacBook Air at the time, and I was like, "Just try my MacBook Air for a second and try your computer." And they're like, "Well, mine has better specs than yours." I was like, "Dude, doesn't matter. Just try it." They opened up Photoshop, it was like that, just because it had the SSD, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah." So they instantly like got it replaced. It was like, yeah, because I'm like, it doesn't, like, you have a faster processor than me, yeah, but it takes so long to load it. That's the part that really seems like it actually makes a difference for at least what they're doing.
they could have been nice though and made it to where you could actually upgrade yourself.
It's Apple. Yeah. Let's just
saying.
So, and then back to the last thing Venky was talking about, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. We can't really talk about it a lot because we don't know much about it. To be honest, we'll probably see a lot more about it at E3, but we could talk briefly about the Deus Ex series. We were actually talking about it earlier. I think we all like Deus Ex, right? I mean,
yeah, loved it. Played it all the way through.
Anyone ever play the original Deus Ex?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about Human Revolution is I didn't like the color palette.
It was unique. It was unique. You have to give it that.
I like the old ones for that. Like it felt a little more sci-fi. Like this felt a little more like apocalyptic sci-fi.
I liked how unique it was. I think if they had it for multiple games in a row, it would get very old. But for like one game,
which is what they're doing for the next game, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we'll see. Until we see the actual gameplay, they might have toned it down. They might have adjusted stuff. Who knows? But
I judge without any evidence. Okay.
But yeah, what do you guys? Do we know anything about Mankind Divided yet?
I honestly don't know anything about it. I haven't really researched. I am excited about it.
I don't think anything's out about it yet. I think we're just waiting for E3.
Yeah.
I told Dave earlier. I think I really enjoyed the last one. It was one of those things that just kind of like got away from me. Like I don't even think it was the pretty crappy boss fights. I think it was just kind of like, I think there might have been another game that came out and we started playing that. It might have been Battlefield 3. Honestly, it could have been that. But it was just like, I don't think I was that huge of a fan. I know James tried to get me to play some of the older ones. I played the original one like forever ago on my uncle's computer. And I never really got into it. It was like really complex. And then the one that James gave me on Steam, I tried it. It just didn't run that well on computers now, trying to get it all. It was like the weird widescreen glitch where you got to like do the INI files to get anything to run correctly. It was okay. But the latest one I really enjoyed. So I'm excited for this one because I think I might actually really enjoy it. So as long as Dark Souls 3 doesn't come out at the same time.
I'm in the minority that I loved Invisible War. Like that gets a lot of grief from people, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh wow, I completely forgot about it. What system was that on?
It was PC and PS2. Let me look it up. Was it on Xbox?
Yeah, I don't remember at all. I mean,
it was the second one, but
I will say I'm looking forward to hearing more about Mankind Divided because it's definitely a series I'm interested in. So we'll see what happens. I'm really excited for E3 this year since we're all going to be watching the press conferences together. You can expect some casual conversations coming out of that. Our hot thoughts. If
it's going to be Bethesda, it's going to be hot.
We'll be hot.
Hot off the presses. But yeah, I'm going to be in town. James will be in town with Dave and Joel. We're going to be watching it all together, and we're really excited. It should be a pretty good time. But it's now time for 90 Seconds with Joel, the part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for 90 seconds or longer. Joel, what you got?
Hey, thank you. Dave told me a funny story.
Thanks, friends.
I love razzing on Dave because he knows I don't mean it at all. But
of course you don't.
I love picking on Dave about his levels of immersiveness, right? If that's even a word, but oh my gosh, it's just funny every time because Dave, when he plays games, he creates like a little bit of a background story. All of the Arma missions, he has background lore on stuff and stuff that no one else even knows too. So I like asking him, like, wait, Dave, did you write a little story? He's like, I might have wrote a paragraph or two. So anyways, for The Witcher, he can't really make a background story because The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia actually has a story, so it's not like Dave
which I read across 7 books to actually prepare for the game.
You read all the books, and so Dave was like, "Yep, I'm not gonna fast travel at all, or none of that, you know." And he didn't do that for he did that for Skyrim as well. And so I was like, Dave, are you staying the course with your rules, not fast traveling and stuff? He's like, well, the only thing I fast travel for is to like bring swords and crap I get back to the stores to sell them. Goes back and then he walks everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're saying you cheated a little bit? And I just digging on. He's like, no, I didn't cheat. I'm still immersed. I just like the way Dave always responds. But he told me a funny story today, and you got to tell that, Dave, the one about the walking.
So what's great is Joel likes to give me a hard time about like oh, you fast travel to sell swords, like oh, you broke the immersion. What he doesn't realize, first of all, is that Joel, as soon as I finished selling my swords to that merchant, I went back to the signpost and I fast traveled back to the town to continue on horseback. That's the part I didn't tell you. I fast traveled to the merchant and then back.
Now, if you don't have a horse, do you fast travel, walk back to that same swampy area, and continue from then? Like let's say you're in a swamp fighting something, collected all the loot, you run to a town, go to the signpost, travel, sell your stuff, go back to the signpost. Do you then go back to the swamp, or do you just start from that place? Because that's also, I feel like, changing a little bit of the rules.
Well, I would go back to the signpost because I've only done loot selling runs like that probably 4 or 5 times in the whole game because I'll push my inventory to the limit before I make that run. And I've only had to do it 4 or 5 times because usually I plan it out where I go through a certain part of the world and then I plan on stopping at a merchant to repair my armor, sell things, play 10 to 20 rounds of Gwent, and then move on. But you know, Joel enjoys thinking that he's breaking down my immersion because I fast traveled once or twice to fast travel back. Then I told him about last night where I set out after doing some recording. I was like, all right, I'm going to get just a quick little bit of Witcher in.
And this is not recording footage, right?
Do
this
you
is just
honestly
playing, right?
believe that when you set out? Do you honestly think just a little bit of Witcher, just real quick?
I lie to myself, Jeremiah.
All right.
So I set out. I'm at Novigrad, one of the largest cities in the game, and I had a quest that was, according to the game, like 1,200 meters to the south. So my plan was just head out of the city towards this quest marker and just enjoy the scenery along the way. But the game is beautiful. It sounds great. It looks great. It's immersive. So I started out with a light gallop on my horse, but pretty soon the sun starts to set across all the fields of sunflowers and the wind's blowing through the trees. I just start slow walking. So I then spent roughly, it was between 25 and 30 minutes slow walking south, like walking on horseback. Just taking screenshots, enjoying the sights. I stopped for 10 minutes to do one quick little side quest. Then I did some inventory management, and then I took some more screenshots of the sunset, and then I just kept going. So I found myself it was time to go to bed, and I had just now arrived at the quest I was going to do a half an hour later from walking the whole way. I had a great time. I loved
right there.
I loved every second of it.
No, I'll say I do actually, instead of fast traveling, if it's not like really ridiculously far away, I usually just ride because I think it's kind of cool. I like it. I'm still a huge fan of the Wind Waker. Like, I like the kind of the long distance it takes to get to. It's kind of, I don't know, for me it makes it more exciting to get there, unless it's like just a dumb little quest. But it's just funny that I would not slow walk the entire way. It's just awesome that Dave does that. But the best part is you do this in real life, Dave. When we go hiking, you have your camera and you like stop, like, gotta take a tree texture, gotta take a photo.
Yeah, you're not wrong there either.
It's awesome.
I absorb life and virtual life like a sponge.
That's really all I had today. It just made me laugh, made me chuckle.
Any of you guys?
I like to. I love how you think, Joel, every time.
Oh,
like you think.
I know I'm not taking away immersion, but I just like to review, like, just to make you like double check, like, oh wait, oh crap, I better double my efforts to stay immersed.
No one needs that, Joel. No one needs double my efforts. No.
Yeah, because Dave, what you said, you have like, what, you have 82 hours now in the game?
I can look right now. Actually, I have a total of right about 80 hours. Yeah. And I have not officially left Velen yet, which is the second area in the game.
Yeah, it's roughly 3.5 hours a day since the game came out.
Well, this last weekend was a good weekend.
I didn't check how many hours, because Dave was telling me that apparently in the options or settings in The Witcher, you can actually find your playtime, and I didn't know that because the PS4 doesn't show it under the save files.
It's under your character stats.
Yeah, I'm going to check that.
All right.
I feel like I played it a lot, but I guess we'll finally find out.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about as we wind the podcast down tonight?
Just 100th episode. Show up.
Show up. Definitely show up. Remember, we're giving away the entire Witcher trilogy. Grand Theft Auto 5. According to Steven in chat, Steam gave him 6 Killing Floor 2 codes, so we got to come up with a lot of trivia now.
How many is us in the CSG group? I kind of want to play that game. Thank you. I'm going to give away a copy of the Nebula, so if you missed out on that second Kickstarter of mine, you can get a copy of that if you're gonna like the challenge. It's so ridiculous, but we have a lot of awesome things planned and many things that Jeremiah has no idea that's gonna make it all the better. A lot of it everyone doesn't even know, so it's gonna be really good. You're gonna get a special little bonus at the end of the podcast. Let's just say that.
And then
that's not bad.
And then episode 101, 2 weeks from now, is going to be, in my opinion, our most exciting episode in quite some time. Episode 100 is awesome, but I'm super excited for episode 101. You guys definitely don't want to miss that one. It's going to be a really, really incredible podcast. And guys who are watching live, you should come out and play the scavenger hunt with us in Grand Theft Auto 5. But as always, you can find us on Twitter at casualshenanigans. You can write into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can find Dave and I on Twitter, Evil Viking and JERMgaming, and find us on YouTube at Evil Viking 13 and JERMgaming as well. And Joel, is there any one of your particular things you want to pimp out this week, or is everything just kind of in cruise mode? You've gotten all your money. I guess there's no reason for anyone to look at your stuff right now.
Just a reminder, if you listen to the podcast and you got a copy of the Nebula on Kickstarter, send your email in. I think Amelia sent hers in, I think, and someone else. But please send that in so I can get that on the list, because I'm going to put that in with all the orders once I get all the funds from Kickstarter. Also, double check that your credit cards or whatever you use to pay is correct, because I think it only gives you 2 weeks to fix it. If it doesn't, then you're just out of it. Like, you won't get the copy. There's nothing I can do to fix it. So yeah. So the funds should come in within a week, and then we'll be getting to order within that probably week.
Sweet.
So
and remember,
like 3 to 4
next
weeks.
Wednesday, the 17th, we'll be doing Tabletop Simulator Night with the Dollarwise Gamers. Come out to that and check Joel out on the latest episode of their podcast. I will link that in the description of this podcast, but our music is almost done, so we have to end now. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening to us. We'll see you next week for episode 100. And as always, stay casual.